2 home games, we're averaging 6.5 points against us. And really, really proud of the way our defense is playing. 3 points against NAU, 10 points tonight. To be able to play that type of defense, and even and the defense they played last week as well. I think our defense is really stepping up. Held these guys to minimal yards. They were, I think, at one point they were at under 30 yards rushing in the end of the third quarter or something to that effect. So really proud of the way our defense played. I thought UTEP came in here really wanting to establish the run game, be physical. I think they have a very good football team that's battling through and doing everything they possibly can right now to find that identity and make some plays. I thought they got some really good-looking receivers and running backs. So I was impressed with the team that Dana has. I think Dana's a really good coach, man. I've coached against him when he was at Kansas State, and boy, he does a good job. In terms of our team, first and foremost, as I mentioned before, hats off to the defensive staff putting together a great plan against a different type of scheme than we're accustomed to going against. A lot of two-back offense, a lot of gap scheme, a lot of pullers, playing with a fullback, and we stuffed the run pretty good and played really, really good defense as a team. I would say offensively, very, very efficient. I don't know. I think this is probably a career best for Jaden to be 80% completion. I think he was 79.3 was what I was told. I don't think he's ever hit that number before. He had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 285 yards passing or something to that effect. But really played clean football, really clean football. And that's what we asked of him and challenged him this week to do. I would say real happy that Jacob Cowan got the 10 catches today. We worked hard for that. Wanted to make sure we got him the ball, got the ball in his hands, and glad to get him that touchdown catch. T-Mac, another big-time catch. As we all know, he makes those naturally. He had a good game. I think he's disappointed, clearly, that he put the ball in the ground. Did make up for it with a touchdown. And we know what type of football player he is. Mike Wiley, another great job by him, and the whole running back core. Thought we ran the ball extremely well today, and really proud of the team. I thought today was the best team win that I can remember that we've had, and now we got to get into Pac-12 play. We got to up our game. We got to play better, and we got to see what we can do moving forward.
Go Brian and then Aiden.
You mentioned the efficiency, but the first quarter seemed to have been maybe a little bit slow so far. I know last week there were turnovers. Can you attribute that to anything, like what you guys have only managed to score 1 touchdown in the first quarter?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we had like a 6-play drive going, and then we had a holding penalty that knocked us back, and it was a 1st and 20, and then we had like a 6-yard run, and then it was like a 2nd and 14, and then just the way they play their third down defense, we wound up getting to like a 4th and 4. And we were on about the 41-yard line going in, or 45-yard line. I just didn't want to go for it at that point in time. And then the second drive, I believe, was maybe the touchdown, and then there was a fumble, or maybe it was a fumble and then a touchdown. I can't remember exactly how that went. I just think, we talk about starting fast. We want to make sure we continue to play good football right off the bat. And I think, it was just one of those times we got we had a touchdown, we had a field goal blocked, and we put the ball on the ground on one of those possessions. But we'll work through it and see if we can score faster earlier.
Mentioned the running back statistics in the ground game, going over 200 yards. What do you think attributed to that? Getting that much yards on the ground?
Well, they're very talented. I mean, you look at our running backs. You had Michael Wiley. I know Michael Wiley, Jonah Coleman, DJ Williams, Speedy Luke, Jaden DeLaura. Oh, he's not a running back, but he had 43 yards rushing too. So I think all 5 of those guys had great production on the ground. And when you could do that and you could have 25, 29, about 30-something carries, 32 carries for 244 yards, that's a really, really good day at the office. That's over, that's about 8 yards a carry. And I think it credit that to our offensive line. Coach Carroll does a great job of putting the running game together and coordinating that. And then to be able to mix in the running backs, Coach Graham has a great feel on which back should go in when. And it's fun to see all of them do things.
Go Justin and then Michael.
What did you make of T-Mac's one-handed catch in the first half?
You know, I've seen it a lot at this point.
So just a normal
Yeah,
T-Mac performance?
yeah, that one's not going to do it for me. There's going to be, I'm going to see a lot of those over the next few years, and I've seen a lot of them. He's super gifted.
Michael and then Troy.
You talked about the defense's passion and energy. Tonight it seemed like they were very sound, like in the right places where they were supposed to be most of the time. What impressed you the most about what you saw out there on the field on that side of the ball?
The team defense, the fact that when you're able to play fundamentally sound, great technique, and then be able to, at all three levels, the D-line, the linebacking core, and the secondary, we're all able to make sure the fits were right, the force was right, the communication seemed to be at an all-time high of our games based upon many guys weren't ever out of a gap. It didn't ever feel like we were not in the right position to make a play. And that comes down to communication. That comes down to the amount of time they spend walking through plays, practicing, the preparation involved. The coaches have done a tremendous job. And I think when you play great team defense, we're now going to just assume we're going to play with great effort, and we're going to assume that we're going to always run to the ball. But then when you can become gap sound and fundamentally sound, that's when you can really take that defense to the next level of having one or two guys at every point of attack.
Troy and then the back corner.
I know you touched upon it a little bit, but just wanted to see if you could go into more detail. The offensive line through these 3 games has played really well, despite missing Raymond Polito and the shuffling on that line. Can you talk about how they played and then the depth this season compared to past years for you guys?
Yeah, we've talked about it really leading up to through camp, leading up to the season. We're really proud of the development of our younger guys. Coach Carroll's done a great job of not just coaching them, but identifying the talent, who to bring in, who to coach, the type of efforts he wants to get from those guys. We know that, Jordan Morgan coming back was a huge plus for the program. We know that Jonas Evanea is continuing to grow. And then as Josh Baker, he's the unsung hero. Really nobody talks about Josh and what Josh has done. I mean, he knows this offense inside and out, and his relationship with Jaden and the way they can communicate, whether or not to check a play, whether or not to change a play, how we're going to pick something up. Those type things that Josh is able to do is really what's enabled the offensive line to go.
Back corner and then Michael.
Hi, Coach Fisch. So 2 of the wide receivers that scored touchdowns today were transfers. Jacob Cowan scoring here. It's his former school. Montana Maloney's Craig scoring his first touchdown this season. How have you seen all of these transfers coming together in your team on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I think we brought in 12 transfers this past year, 11 on defense, 1 on offense. The year before, we went heavy on the transfers on offense and tried to develop the program through the high school recruits as well. What we've talked about spending the amount of time on the culture and on the relationship building. And I think you would never know if Jaden was here, for 4 years, if Jacob was here for 4 years, if Montana was here for 4 years, just the way they all interact. Yeah, it's only been 2 years for a couple of them, 1 year for some. Montana's entered this building with great energy, great spirit, great confidence, and has been a great leader in that room. And then T-Mac has worked off of that. Malachi is learning from him. Kevin Green is learning from Jacob. So now you have the high school recruits and the transfers all together. It's fun to see, what these guys can do.
Michael and then Justin.
You guys ran a lot of bubble screens tonight, a lot of them to the left side where Jordan Morgan is getting involved. Is that type of mobility that he has, one of the things that NFL scouts really like?
Yeah, his athleticism at left tackle is demonstrated that we can pull him, we could kick out with him. He's such a great athlete that he could cover ground down the field. He's a fantastic screen runner. He really screen tackle. He's a fantastic puller. He's a great athlete. NFL scouts love that part of him. He certainly helps us. We did that. We wanted to, this was a great game for us to be able to make them defend the whole width of the field. Other times we'll make them defend, end zone. But this was the type of game that really, we were a downhill running team. We were able to get our yards, a lot of chunks in the run game, and then be able to make them chase and cover the sideline to sideline.
Last question to Justin.
How do you think these 3 games set you up for now conference play?
Yeah, well, we saw a couple different defenses throughout these, 3 games. Now it's a matter of being able to really focus in on these next 9 games. And one game at a time. We've got, right now, everybody seems to be healthy. I keep saying I'm hopeful for Polito. We at least got him to the game this week, so he was there. So that's our first step. And we'll see what that looks like to get him back. I love the way the other guys are playing, getting experience. I think that the fact that Speedy Luke, DJ, Michael, Jonah are all able to carry the ball and be able to move, that's going to give us great advantages throughout the Pac-12 conference. And but we got to be better. We got to be better in every facet. We got to score more points, and we got to get back to the drawing board and see what we can do to continue to be the explosive offense we want to be.